What is up, guys? 4th and 26 Philly Sports back with another video. We got Cobb Street Beef with Dirty Mike as always. This is playoff week for the NFL, and we got the Eagles limping into the playoffs here. Beef, what's your confidence level going into the playoffs right now?
Middle to piddling foods. Now, let's start with how such a regression from our quarterback had happened. I'm not going to say that
Wow, so you're just going right into it that Hurts has just regressed at this
I don't think well, I will say this. When I say that he's regressed, there's a lot that comes to that. I think that his regression comes a lot from either from his knee, from that injury. We know he's injured. He's wearing the brace.
He's not himself. He's not himself.
Not 100%. Or is it what's going on with the scheme, Foods? Is it? I know that Johnson, the OC, had known Hurts for years, for like a decade, right? Since he was a teenager. How is he not pulling him aside, shaking him, and say, "Food, you Food, Hurts, you're messing up my offense." Like I know they're not putting him in the best position. Ooh.
Do you feel like Hurts is the issue with his offense, or do you feel like it's the offensive scheme that's just, I got to be honest with you, man. If I see another wide receiver screen or bubble screen get intercepted, I mean, my God, it's like the other teams know what we're going to do. And I feel like Brian Johnson, once teams laid out the blueprint for how to beat us, I feel like he hasn't made an adjustment to, change anything up. I almost feel like I'm watching a preseason offense every single game. And, part of that is due to the Eagles are just god-awful against the blitz. They are just awful. And Hurts is literally just running for his life, and he has no time to look for the progression. It's just Hurts rolling to the right, going back about 20 yards, and then just throwing it out of bounds. And I'm sick of it. Does some of this have fall on Hurts' leadership? Do you feel like his leadership is taking a step back this year? You see him on the sidelines, no emotion, not talking to anybody, pumping anybody up. I mean, that's my biggest issue I have with Hurts this year in the regression. He's regressed as a leader.
Several things, Foods. You're absolutely right. The leadership role is lacking. You look at Tom Brady 6-7 years ago when they're down. He's in his linemen's faces. It's unbelievable the type of lackadaisical attitude. No urgency from Jalen, not even in the press conferences. What the hell is that?
Yeah, they didn't have to pay him when they did, and unfortunately, I hope we don't have another Carson Wentz situation on our hands here. But he's going to have a bounce back year next year, or I don't think this is something that they can just flip the switch on in the playoffs and just decide to play better. This team, somebody's poisoned the water hole, watering hole this year.
I'll tell you this, Foods. You're right when you say that Hurts deserves a lion's share, leadership, all that. But let me tell you something. That scheme we were talking about, when we were talking about, what's going on with the plans and all the plays going on, when Marcus Mariota was in that first play and they tried to hit with the outside screen and the guy in the corner jumped it and ran back, that wasn't Hurts who threw that. That was Mariota. It didn't matter who.
It's a bad scheme. It doesn't matter who throws it. Absolutely.
And combine that with the poor decision making that Hurts is displaying lately in these, I want to say, last 10 games. Let's say, it's a recipe for disaster.
It's the whole season. The turnovers this year are absolutely out of control. That's the one thing Hurts did last year. He took care of the ball last year. A few times he fumbled, he fell on the ball. And, just the interceptions, the fumbles, they're a mess this year, Foods. And, I think we got a false sense of security hiding behind that 10-1 record. And, we did beat some quality teams. We really, truly did, to get to that 10-1 record. But like we said in one of our other videos, it seems like once San Francisco just completely demolished us, we just didn't get off the mat. We really
and our line unfortunately is getting older. I mean, you can see that he's under duress half the time. I mean, what's his name? Wink Martindale sent blitzes 70% of the time. What do you think Todd Bowles going to do on Monday?
He's going to blitz the hell out of them. He's going to blitz the hell out of them. And unless, A.J. Brown had some issues with it, I think, earlier in the year, these long developing routes, when they see that it's going to take 3-4 seconds to hold the pocket to, get these routes open down the field, they're just going to start rushing all the time. And Hurts is going to have to run for his life again. And then everybody's just going to be standing around. So, it's a combination of so many things this year, and it started with the injuries and the coaches that they hired. Hurts taking a step back, just not thriving in this new system. I don't believe Hurts is like a Patrick Mahomes type, to where you can plug him in any system and his improv skills are going to be able to get them X amount of wins. I feel like Hurts isn't necessarily just a system quarterback, but he's not thriving in this system for sure.
Well, it's a shame, because if they know what's the blueprint's out, they know what he's doing with the RPOs. So change the formation, put him under center, do some pistol work. Let's get the running backs in the eye. Let's not have them shifted. Yeah, let's have them shift. It's so many things that you can do. Let's have max protection, hot reads, slants, 5-yard button, like whatever. Get it out of his hands.
Yeah, you got to get those. Like, if you see it, I don't know the stats on it, but it just seems like Hurts holds on to the ball forever, every single play. And then he's just standing around because nobody's, doing anything. And he almost has too much time sometimes. But recently, yeah, he's been under duress. But he just doesn't get rid of the ball quick. He doesn't make that quick decision. You're right.
Or they're poor decisions. And every time he's getting rushed to the right, for some reason, we got trips to the left. What the shit is that? Again, poor scheme, poor decision making, and that's what leads us to like our -8 turnovers, that we got going into this game on Monday. Of course, we get the Monday game. They're going to give us the shit game.
Yeah, absolutely. But have you heard anything on A.J. Brown? I have not heard any updates on his injury, on whether or not there's any chance he'll play.
Yeah, he got an MRI yesterday, and it looked okay. It didn't look like it was anything deep. He should be able to play come Monday. A lot of the players are coming back from their injuries, except for Sidney Brown.
Yeah, we'll see how Smitty is. If he's off of crutches, I believe. I'm sure he's going to want to play.
Hopefully, Blankenship. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's got to start with running the ball. Foods. We got to start, possessing the ball some, running the clock down, and then all of a sudden you pick up a couple first downs on the ground, and they start cheating up, and then that deep ball is available. They're just not getting big plays this year. I think that wow, you hear this wind?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's awful. We've been I live on the 3rd floor, and there's a building and there's a gap of 20-30 feet in between, so it just makes a wind tunnel.
Wow.
It's just absolutely awful. But I believe the stat that I'm looking for is okay. Through 12 games, the Eagles had 32 offensive plays of at least 25 yards down the field. That was 7th most in the league, nearly 3 of them a game. Over the past 5 games, they've only had 5, and only 2 teams, the Panthers and the Texans, have had fewer. So there's just nothing,
Yeah. Where's the creativity? And I'll tell you what, because I know we're going to keep this one short. If it ever comes to who's going to go, who's going to be kicked, who's going to be sent packing, Hurts or Sirianni, you're not going to send your $250 million. Obviously it's the coach. So, the motivation it's going to be on Hurts. It's all up to him, really.
Yeah, it is. And,
what do you think? Do you think that Sirianni would go first, or do you think Hurts would go first?
No, Sirianni would definitely go first, but we're also looking at a possibility now that Hurts' confidence may be a little damaged due to this season, and now if they fire Brian Johnson, he might have his 3rd coordinator in 3 years, and that's recipe for disaster with quarterbacks. You can't really say he's a veteran. He's still a young quarterback, and to have 3 in 3 years isn't good for his progression. It can really stifle him.
It's a shame because he's been. Well, yeah, because he's been to the playoffs for 3 years.
He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to the pinnacle, and he had arguably one of the greatest Super Bowl performances by a quarterback in history, but whether he'll ever be able to get back to that pinnacle,
That's
it's
the mystery.
that's a mystery. But that's all the time we're going to do for this video here, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We'll have some more content that we're dropping this week. We're doing a lot of stuff for Eagles playoff run, and we're curious to see what you guys have to think, if you agree, disagree, or what you guys think the problem is. Keep an eye out. We'll be back with another video shortly. Thanks for joining me, Beef. We'll be back again.
You got it, Doc.
All right, later, guys.